Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Alita here, and welcome to anyone that's new. Friends, today I have a word to share with you guys that's really going to be like just good news, like the good news that some of y'all need to hear right now, because of the season that you've been in and what's been happening in your life. So yes, it is a very specific word. So as always, please remember to take it before the Lord, especially if you're hearing it for the first time, but it resonates in your spirit and you really believe that this word is for you. Take it to Him, ask Him about it, ask God to confirm, in case you're wondering who Him is. Ask God to confirm the word for you. It is so important that you do that relationship between you and Him is the most important thing that you can ever have. So make sure that you have that and you get that confirmation that you need, and not just act on words just based on I heard it on a YouTube video, right? I've made that mistake, so don't make that mistake. And also friends, it's for some of you, it may be a word that God is confirming through this video, something He's already been speaking to you about. I love it, it's great, but take any questions you have to Him. Ask Him for the strategies, ask Him for what you need to do, because I really don't have the answers. I just have a little tiny piece of the story. So that's what I'm here to share with you guys today. So let's get into it. I actually have 3 dreams that play into this word today that I'm going to share. And I'll share them throughout the video. I'm not going to share them all at the beginning because of just the way that the message is going to come out, right? So I'm going to share the first dream, which I had on, I think the first one I had on November 1st, 2021. So in this dream, I remember that there were these 2 people, right, that were in a partnership, and the one person is someone that is close to me, it's a family member, and the other person I could not recognize. The person looked like a famous actor. It was not the famous actor. He just looked like the famous actor. And what this person who looked like the famous actor was doing was that they had brought this family member in and were partnering with them, right? And he was saying to the family member, talking about me, and they had my phone. And when I say they had my phone, it felt like such a virtual experience. It did not feel like they were in the room with me. I was in the room that I was in the dream. They were there. I could see them, but I knew that they were not in the same room as me. So it was a very virtual type of feel. And on my phone, the man who looked like the actor just kept scrolling up, and there were different screens that would come up, and he would say to my family member, either she does this, or she does that, or she does that, or I'll kill her. And as he said that, my phone turned off, and I remember just trying so hard to just keep it turned on, the side button, just trying to hold it in my dream so it stayed on, because it felt like everything just shut down. Everything just went black. That was the first scene. In the second scene, I was in this building, and I wasn't completely myself in terms of how I looked. It was me. I was the one doing the action, but I was in the form of somebody else. I was a man, and I was under attack. There were people shooting at me in this building. As I moved around the building, they were shooting at me, and I was shooting back as well. And if I remember correctly, I probably was struck once, and even though I was struck, I didn't feel it didn't stop me, didn't slow me down. I don't remember feeling any major pain. I think I know that I felt the bullet, but I didn't. It wasn't like what you would expect. And I just kept going, and I kept shooting back and defeating all these people that were shooting at me. And the way that they were shooting at me, it's almost as if I would go through the building and I would think that I'm safe, or it's a friendly situation, and they would all turn and start shooting, right? So that's how it was. And then there was a lot happening on that floor. Then I went, because my whole plan was to get out of the building. I went down to the next floor, and I thought, okay, I've escaped all of that. I overcame, and there was one guy standing there, and I thought, okay, he looks friendly. He's probably not going to shoot me. He doesn't have a gun. And he suddenly pulled out a gun and shot at me, but he missed, and I think I shot him. And then I started to walk out of the building. And when I did that, it's almost as if the dream did a time lapse of some sort. Is it a time lapse? Is that what it's called? But it felt like there was a break. So then the next scene came in where I was walking out of the building, but I was completely myself. I wasn't in the form of a man anymore. I was completely myself, and when I walked out the building, I saw 2 police officers standing on the side, and they were just writing up their report, and on the ground was the man who looked like the famous actor in a body bag. He was about to be zipped up. He was in the body bag. And then just close by, there were people dressed in funeral clothes just talking about the situation. And there was one conversation that really stood out where I could tell that these 2 women just, how can I say this in such a way that it doesn't sound like I'm being, they just didn't know what they were talking about. They had such a low level of understanding of the situation, of everything, but they could see that this man was now dead. So that was that dream. So friends, this dream is one of those dreams that when I got the full interpretation, because I understood it when I had the dream, the day that I had it, I understood the dream, but I never felt led to release it yet. God just didn't lead me to that dream, and I didn't really feel like I needed to until he took me back to this dream yesterday. Yeah, it was Sunday. Sorry, I keep thinking today's Monday. It was on Sunday. Sorry guys, there was a bit of an interruption. And I'm trying to remember where I was. I think I was saying how the Lord gave me more on Sunday in terms of what the dream means, and it was just mind-blowing. So this dream really has to do with how some of you are going through an attack that has come in the form of words. It's come in the form of communication type of avenues. So in that first scene with the 2 people that were not really in the room with me, like my family member and this guy who looked like an actor, so what I find very significant about the guy who looked like this famous actor, I'm not going to say his name because people are going to stuck on the name and that this person was in my dream. It was not the actor. He just looked like the actor. I could tell that it wasn't him because he didn't 100% look like. So that's why I'm not giving his name. I don't care to protect actors' names here. But the significance of this man who looked like an actor is that there are people that the enemy has been using. Actually, the strategy is such that the enemy has come against you in such a way that he's using an attack. How can I put this? So he represents someone that is deceptive. Whenever I dream of really, really great actors or people that look like great actors in the dream, I know that God is showing me deception, because acting is not real life. It's deception, but it's deception on a level that it is so believable that people do get deceived. So there is a situation in your life where a family member or even a friend or even a coworker or something, your boss, has been made to believe certain things about you that are not true. This person has turned people against you. Let me put it that way. They've turned people against you using just by twisting words that you've said, twisting some of the things that that the people in your life have said, twisting things and really creating deception. And why I say this is because in that first scene there was the cell phone, my cell phone, and that is a communication device. So usually, or sometimes in a dream, when you have a cell phone and you are on the phone talking, or you're calling somebody, especially when you're calling like your father, or you're calling somebody that you trust, you're calling for help, it usually represents prayer. It usually represents communicating with God, because it's communication that's out there in the cloud, right? But in this scene, I wasn't talking on the phone. It was just a communication device, and they were going through all these various screens and saying either she does this, that, or the other, or I'll kill her. And the enemy has created such an intricate plan against your life, and they've pulled in some people in your life and they've turned them against you, and they're partnering with them. So these people in your life that you've had a really great relationship with, they have turned against you, and as a result of this deception, if I can put it that way. And the plan of the enemy is to take you out of your destiny, to take you out of your life. When I heard or I'll kill her, the first thing that came to mind is the enemy's trying to take me out. And then the Lord went on to say, out of such and such a thing. And I was like, oh, I get it. That's why that term came to mind, because God can be God is very specific when he uses certain terms and certain words. And that was the first thing I could have thought, yeah, the enemy's trying to kill me. But the first thought that came was, take me out. And then God went on to say, his plan is to take you out of a certain situation, take you out of whatever, right? So the enemy's trying to take you out of whatever it is that God has in store for you. He's trying to steal this thing from you. He's trying to kill and he's trying to destroy. And in that first scene, when my phone shut down and I was trying to turn it on and everything turned black, that was me out of my own strength trying to keep it on, trying to almost defend myself and stop this thing from happening. And God was showing me how the words that your fight shouldn't be with the people. It shouldn't be with those that are coming against you with all these accusations, because in the next scene of the dream, he actually gives us the strategy. So in the next scene, there was in this building, everybody was shooting at me. It was me, but I was a man. And I asked the Lord why, and he said, that's a picture of you in the spirit. In that dream, you had to be this young, agile man that can move quickly, use that gun real quick. You had to be somebody that can fight in that environment. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, that makes so much sense. So that's the answer. That is how we come against all the accusations, all the things that have been twisted, stuff that we tried to do that was, out of the goodness of our heart, out of a place of love, trying to help people, trying to just move forward in what God has given us. And it was taken and twisted. Our words were twisted. It was turned against us, and people in our life have been deceived into thinking that you are this horrible person and you did this on purpose and you tried to do this. They've been deceived into thinking that about you. And these are the things that you did out of a genuine place of love, but it's been twisted. And instead of trying to fight with your own physical strength in terms of trying to defend yourself, trying to be like, no, wait, this is actually what happened. This is not what I meant. And this is how it was supposed to be. Or, that's not the level where we fight at. We have to fight in the spirit. So some of you have an assignment. Some of you are in the middle of it. Some of you are coming out of it, where you have to actually come back at the enemy with the sword of the spirit. Ephesians 6 verse, is it 17? 14. Let's see which Ephesians 6 verse this is. 17. I was right. Ephesians 6 verse 17 says, put on the helmet of salvation and take up the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. That is your weapon. The word of God is your weapon. So God is giving you an assignment to come against the words that have been spoken against you, but you fight in the spirit. And he's going to give you your specific strategy on what exactly you need to be fighting against. He's going to give you specifics on, this is what was said, so you need to cancel that and replace it with the truth, and so forth and so on. And what's going to happen is, you may, obviously because it's a warfare situation, certain things may happen where you get struck, but you have to keep going. God is saying he's going to give you the strength and the stamina to keep fighting, because you're not going to lose this one. He's already given you victory. You just have to keep going. More things may be said that will hurt. More things may come up that will probably just cause a lot of distress. But God is saying, keep fighting. Just keep fighting in the spirit, because that's where you will win the war. If you try and fight in the flesh, they're going to take you out of that thing, of your destiny, or whatever it is that God has given you or wants to give you. Right? And the third scene in the dream shows how, because it felt like just coming out of the second scene into the third scene, because I was able to get away from that last guy, and that felt like such a small attack to me. And it feels like when you have like that last kick of a dying horse type of attack, you've dealt with so much, and then something comes and you think, what is this? When you know you've dealt with so much, just know that you're at the end of that fight because you've already won. And don't be discouraged. Just get out of that building because you're at the end, right? You're done with that warfare and you have been given victory. And what's going to happen is that God is going to come in. This is where he steps in and he's going to take the enemy out. The enemy tried to take you out, but God is going to take the enemy out. On, what was the date? Because I said to you guys that I have 3 dreams that I'd like to share. On November 13th, I had 2 dreams in the same night, where the first dream was very simple. There was just a sheet of paper that just came in front of me, and it had the number 666 on it. And I was thinking, yes, this is good. This is good because the Lord had led me to Isaiah 66 verse 6 not too long ago. And I knew that's what God was referring to in the dream. I had no doubt. I wasn't thinking it had to do with the mark of the beast or anything like that. 6 is still God's number. The devil doesn't own any numbers. All numbers belong to God. He created them. So that 666 was referring to the scripture, Isaiah 66 verse 6. And I knew this because God had already brought that scripture up for me a few times, right? And that was the dream. It was that simple. And following that, I heard the Lord say, listen carefully, something along those lines. And he said, it is done. Then I had another dream. Guys, it's just been an amazing time of just God just guiding through this process. Then I had another dream where I could see, I was in a city and the buildings, some of the buildings were falling. And I was saying to people, look, the buildings are falling, and they couldn't see it, but I could. And there was this large tree, this huge tree. This tree was so big, and it didn't look like any tree I've ever seen before. It looked like the roots formed the bark. It was like this intricate pattern of the roots forming the bark and the branches. And when I looked up at this tree, all I could see was this thick cloud of white smoke. It covered the entire sky. And I could see that some of the buildings were, there was smoke coming out of the buildings because they were all being destroyed, and that was dark smoke. But this tree had this white smoke. And this blew me away because when I read Isaiah 66 after I had this dream, I was like, wow, this is what it says. What is all the commotion in the city? What is that terrible noise from the temple? It is the voice of the Lord taking vengeance against his enemies. Y'all, when I read that, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Amen. This battle for a lot of you has been a tough one, and a lot of you are still in it. But God is saying, you're going to get to a point where your work is done, or you're getting to a point where your work is done, and he's going to step in, and it is going to be his voice roaring against everything the enemy has been doing in your life. He's going to come against every single thing. And once God steps in, you can relax. You can just take a seat and relax. Your work is done. God is doing the damage now, and it's going to take over everything. That white smoke just took over the entire sky. That tree in my dream represented God. It represented him. And that cloud of white smoke contrasted against the buildings that were falling and that darker smoke. That was everything the enemy had erected. Every single lie, every single twist of your words is being brought down. And God is stepping in. He's stepping in to finish the enemy off, to take him out. You're going to walk out and you're just going to see the destruction of the wicked. That's what the word of God says. I think it's in Psalm 91. And the 2 police officers in the dream represent the authorities, represent people that God has assigned. I mean, they came when it appeared in the dream as though they were just there to collect the body, find out what happened, like police officers would normally do at a crime scene. God is cleaning up. And the people that were dressed in funeral clothes just shows that it's dead and buried. God is going to bury every plan, everything that the enemy tried to use against you, and he's going to bury the enemy. And people will try and make sense of what happened, but they're just not at that spiritual level. but your life, this story, this part of your life where you've had to come against all these accusations, all this twisting of your words, all this making you look bad when all you really did was try and just be what God wanted you to be, love people the way God wanted you to love, and that was taken and twisted and made to look ugly. That's going to be a testimony to people. And God is saying, just keep going, because He's going to step in and He's taking over. So friends, I know that the battle has been hard. I know it's been so tough for some of you, but just know that God is stepping in. He is stepping in. He's not going to let you be taken out. He's not going to let you lose out on what He has for you. So that's it, friends. That's the word for today. I really pray that it's been a blessing to you, and I will see you in the next video. Always remember, God loves you so much. So much, my friends. Why? Because you're so special to Him.
The ball and chain broken by